Can people change? Most people think they're stuck, that their life is done, and who they are right now is all they will ever be. But I'm telling you right now, you're not finished. To say you're finished is to claim you know your own fate. And we both know that isn't true. You don't know what tomorrow holds, so don't quit. Like what Michael B. Jordan said, people quit right before they get the very thing they wanted. And as to the topic of this video, Musashi Miyamoto also says, the purpose of life is to find your way and walk it. Change is not only possible, it's a necessity. What I'm trying to say anyway is take the first step towards any goals or aspirations you have, and you will realize you can change. I know that was a cheesy intro, but that is kind of the gist of this video. And yeah, anyway, to be honest, I've made this video because I read Vagabond last year, and I think it changed my life without me even realizing. I think what makes this manga so perfect is because of the main character, which is called Musashi Miyamoto. This is one of my favorite characters, and it's because of the development of this character. The change we go throughout his story is just so seamless, but so significant. So let me show you his story, and I hope you can learn something of value. Oh yeah, for your information, this is a real story, so there's not really spoilers. So I think you can still enjoy Vagabond after watching this anyway. Let's go. Takazo, later known as Musashi, was shaped by violence. Born into a family marked by loss and hardship, Takazo's childhood was brutal. His father was strict, abusive, and a disciplinarian who pushed him to his breaking point over and over again, leaving him emotionally shattered. Takazo hated his father so much that he even attempted to assassinate him. As for his mother, she wasn't much better. They were separated, and he spent years yearning to prove himself to her, to show her how much he had grown throughout these years of training and survival. But when he finally met her again, instead of acceptance, she said, "You're not my son. Takazo died a long time ago. You're nothing but a demon now." Imagine how that must have hit him. After everything he'd been through, even his own mother couldn't see him as anything but a monster. While this line doesn't appear in Vagabond manga, it's from Eiji Yoshikawa's, I think I said that name right. It comes from his novel, Musashi, and it speaks to the emotional devastation he carried. Takazo went on a path to win his mother's affection, but instead was dealt with a crushing blow to his heart. Why did she call him a demon? Because the violence, trauma, loneliness of his youth had twisted him. In the first chapter of Vagama, we see how brutal and savage he can be when killing his opponents. He wasn't just fighting to win, he was just fighting like a beast. In one of his battles, he doesn't just kill an enemy, he obliterates him. It wasn't enough to defeat the man. Takaso savagely slashed him, crushed his face with his bare hands, and threw what seemed like a goddamn bulldozer into the guy's head. It was overkill, to say the least. And you could see that all that pent up rage and trauma had created a violent and reckless person. Thanks to his father, Takazo was strong, but his mother was right. He was acting like a demon, a man who lived by one harsh belief: if you're strong, you live. If you're weak, you die. This quote perfectly sums up his early philosophy, his view of strength as something purely physical, a way to survive in a harsh but unforgiving world. But what does true strength even mean? Like, is it about how much you can lift, how many opponents you can crush? This reminds me as a Muslim of what Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said. The strong man is not the one who is good at wrestling, but the one who controls himself in a fit of rage. Strength isn't just about brute force, it's about discipline, control, and resilience, doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Masashi, at this point of his life, didn't understand that. He had a warped idea of what it means to be strong. But as his journey unfolds, he starts to realize there's much more to it than just overpowering others. Tagizo, the boy who believed only in strength through violence, would one day understand that true power comes from mastering himself, not just his enemies. He will learn that the strongest person isn't the one who can destroy everything in his path, it's the one who can control the chaos inside of him. And that's what turns a demon into a legend. What if the toughest battles we fight aren't against others, but against ourselves? Our ego, our pride, and the traits that hold us back are the real enemies. For Takuzo, the battle was his relentless pursuit of validation through combat. It wasn't until he learned to let go of his pride that he truly found freedom. Takuzo's worldview was first challenged when he met Takuan, a Zen Buddhist monk. In Vagabond chapter 12, Takuan saw beyond the Takuzo's sword skill and recognized the turmoil festering inside of him. The hunger for validation, the fear of being weak, and the desperate search for meaning in violence. Like Takuzo said, if you're strong, you live. If you're weak, you die. In their conversation, Takuin stripped away Takuzo's pride by calling him the weakest person he'd ever met, despite his prowess with the sword. In doing so, he planted a seed of doubt in Takuzo's mind. This seed wasn't an immediate solution, but a catalyst for self-reflection. Takuzo, so used to defining his worth through battle, began to question what it truly meant to be strong. Sometimes it takes hearing the harsh truth from someone who sees our potential for us to recognize that the chains holding us back are self-imposed. This realization marked the beginning of Takuzo's long and difficult path towards freeing himself from his ego. Like any seed, growth takes time, and Tuckerwin's words slowly began to take root. Tucker's journey towards self-mastery didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process of questioning himself, his motive, and letting go of his pride, and seeking something deeper than victory on the battlefield. So this marked the beginning of change, the same change I talked about from the beginning, the transformation from Takuzo to the man we know as Musashi Miyamoto. Even when we know we need to change, it's never easy. Old habits, beliefs, and desires constantly pull us back to who we used to be. Take a moment and look at yourself. You can probably think of things you do every day that don't move you closer to your goals. Maybe it's something as small as reaching for another energy drink. Even when you know it's not good for you, you still do it. Change, as I said before, takes time. It's not an instant transformation, nor is it a straight path. I like to think of it like a stock market chart. There's ups, there's downs, moments of progress, and setbacks. For Musashi, his greatest battle wasn't against other swordsmen, but it was against himself, against the parts of him that clung to his old beliefs and resisted the change he knew he needed. His next influential fight was against Inshin, the second generation master of the Hozoian, if I said that right, the Hozoian spear school. Musashi challenged Inshin and the whole Yoshiaka. I know these names are just complicated. But anyway, Musashi challenged Inshin and the whole Yoshiaka clan, both well skilled, but Inshin has more of a calm and disciplined combat style, while, as we know, Musashi was a very disorganized, lacking calmness, and at times he went all out rage like he does in this fight. This fight wasn't even a challenge, with Musashi getting hit lots of times. He was frustrated by the fact that he didn't even hit Inshin even once. He was clearly outmatched, couldn't even see his attacks, but Musashi was still in the battle, kept dodging Inshin's attack till he didn't. A blow to the heart. Although not fatal, Inshin realized he had to kill him for him to quit. That's a good quality you see in Musashi, that even when being outmatched, he won't quit till he dies. As Inshin says, I'm going to kill you. Do not bear me any ill will. The real fight starts here. Musashi's life is on the line. However, when everything is at stake, if you can come out on the other side, there's valuable lessons, experiences, and most importantly, skills to gain. These situations is impossible to not improve. So as the fight continues, attacks and even more attacks keep on coming towards him. Musashi looks defeated with his right arm barely moving. The people around him can't believe he's still on his feet. A blow from Inshin would usually put you to bed, as they say. But this is Musashi we're talking about, a man whose whole life, from when he was born till this very fight, was training, a man who's comfortable with the death angel next to him. I know that's cringy, but like, let's be real. The guy, he's ready to die. Inshin has clearly underestimated his resilience. Musashi right now is relying on his pure instincts, but that only takes you so far. A fatal blow has landed and Musashi is now out of his depths with the eerie eyes of Inshin as he says, come on, let's keep going. Inshin goes for another attack as Musashi just stands there with no weapon. Musashi somehow dodges it and has a strong grip on the spear. He does a strong headbutt, but as he goes for the final attack, he gets kicked in the face. The guy is finished on the floor, on the verge of defeat. Somehow, some way, he's still able to get up and still fight. Even if his body can't handle it, he keeps on fighting. Now his bloodthirst, rage just kicks in as we see symbolic demons surrounding him, suggesting he's not even a human anymore and is a demon now, like what his mother said. Ancient again understood one of them needs to die, with Musashi coming in with a reckless but powerful swing. But remember when I said Ancient has a calm, disciplined combat style? He reminds himself to be calm and waits for the right time to counter. Musashi, full of rage, and lack of awareness was just easily stopped. Humiliating the way Inshin just puts his spear facing upwards and perfectly blocks Musashi's swing. They both aim to be invincible, but only one of them can win right now. Musashi realizes with his eyes wide open, he's weaker than Inshin. Inshin was the one person to, humble Musashi, a man who's been defeating everyone till now. As Inshin says, thank you, Musashi. Thank you for teaching me about life. And for the first time, Musashi turns his back towards the enemy and tries to run away. But Inshin caught up to him and defeated him. Musashi has lost. He wakes up after a while. As he gets treated, he says, I'm nothing. I am so small. The man who used to think he was invincible now thinks he's weak. He questions his own strength as if he was fooling himself, overestimating. He realized he wasn't ready to die and is now more cautious about his very life. He remembered his father and he always wanted to be different to him. He acted the same way as him when he ran away. Musashi's inner struggle reaches to a breaking point. After all the battles, all the victories, he's left questioning the very meaning of strength again. What happens when the path you followed for so long suddenly feels like a dead end? In chapter 100, this moment of doubt is personified when Musashi encounters a man who resembles his father. This isn't just an ordinary conversation, it's a confrontation with his deepest fear. The man embodies Musashi's internal conflicts, pushing him to reconsider the value of his victories and the direction of his life. The exchange culminates in a question that shakes Musashi to his very core. What does it mean to be invincible? At this moment, Musashi's confidence begins to unravel. The look on his face says it all. He's no longer certain of the path he's walked for so long. He thought strength was the ultimate goal, but now that belief is being challenged from within. This encounter forces Musashi to confront a hard truth. Strength isn't just about winning battles, it's about understanding oneself. The question, what does it mean to be invincible, is more than a challenge of skill, it's a challenge of purpose. He understands that he's been copying his dad this whole time, the man he hated. It's his childhood of seeing his dad speak about being invincible that he adopts. Masashi realizes that his journey, which has been focusing on defeating others, may not have been the very path to true invincibility after all. Is it worth to be the strongest, most famous, richest person? As I believe, we all go to the grave the same way, with the only thing left being our reputation and how people have been affected by our presence. So, in my opinion, just don't make your life go on something so materialistic or pointless. I mean, that's the main lesson I could take from this chapter. The farming arc is one of my favorite arcs, and for good reason. It's where we finally see the seeds planted by Takuan and multiple people he's seen in his life begin to flourish. Musashi evolves not just as swordsman, but as a person. His calm demeanor now mirrors that of Inshin. But even when he grows, his past keeps on resurfacing, reminding him of who he once was. At the beginning of this arc, Musashi encounters an orphan boy about to chop up his dead father's corpse because it was too heavy to carry. Musashi stops him and ensures a proper burial is given. Musashi becomes a farmer, stepping into a world far removed from battle, just soil, crops, and the quiet rhythm of daily work. At first, he struggles. His hands, once skilled at wielding a sword, fumble with the simplest of tasks of planting seeds. Despite villagers telling him it's useless to plow the bad fields, he continues, even after a storm wipes out his work. But through farming, Musashi learns something more profound than any sword fight has ever taught him: patience. When you plant a seed, you can't force it to grow. It takes time, care, and attention. Life is the same. You can't rush your way through to success or fight your way through with every single problem. Real strength isn't just physical, it's the ability to persist, nurture, and wait. And that's a lesson that we all need to remember. We know things take time, but we don't always act like it. We expect immediate results, forgetting that true growth, like a seed, takes time to flourish. Later, he keeps struggling to make progress as the rain keeps on destroying the field. He wanted to beat the quote unquote water. This is a new purpose you can say for now, and the only reason he's staying in this village. He told the kid Iori he knew a man who is like the water, and goes on a long dialogue about what water is, talking about how the external factors shape the state of the water. But he also says water obeys only itself. To me, this seems like a contradiction, as how could water obey itself even though its state is decided by external forces? To me, this theme of water resembles Musashi's life. The external forces being the family he's born into and the place and the time, but it's his choices that decides where the wheels of life go. He didn't have to be a samurai, but he chose to be. And you can say he didn't have to be a farmer right now. I believe is a mix of free will and fate, which perfectly describes water. In this scene, it gives us the coldest, the best panel of Musashi just slicing the water ever so freely. This is clearly a new person who controls his swords differently. Reminds me back when he fought Inshin and how Inshin just moves his spear around, both as calm as it gets. This arc isn't about Musashi becoming like water or mastering his sword. It's about him realizing that true strength isn't something you conquer, it's something you cultivate. Just like the crops he learns to plant, real strength grows slowly, nurtured by patient care and purpose that I've been saying on and on again. The lesson here is simple. Life isn't a constant battle. True victories aren't measured by the numbers of opponents you defeat, but by the peace you find within yourself. Musashi's journey shifted from taking lives to creating something lasting, something meaningful. In that quiet village, far from the battlefield, he became stronger than ever. He stopped chasing victory and started building a life of substance, grounded in something greater than himself. And now it's your turn. You have an infinite amount of potential, so don't waste it on pointless pursuits. Change, as Musashi learned, is slow but beautiful. So be humble, be patient, and remember that the journey to true strength starts within. So I ask you, do you see the infinite potential within yourself? Firstly, I want to say is thanks for watching this video till now. It means a lot, bro. And secondly, like, subscribe, comment. I didn't really want to do it in the middle of the video. I just felt like in the flow of doing it. So I'm just saying it now. If you got to this point, if you want more videos like this, just comment below. That's the only reason. That's the only way I can find out if you guys actually enjoy it. But yeah, anyway, if you haven't read Vagabond, please read it. It's literally my favorite manga. You can check it out on my last video where I talk about top 20 mangas. Vagabond, spoiler alert, is number 1 for me. Yeah, but anyway, if you still didn't get the video, the main lesson is just, change. Go look into like the small bad habits that's not helping you. Like, let's say you eat like a snack that you don't really need to eat, just cut that out. Obviously, I'm not saying don't overburden yourself. That's I need to really say that. And I didn't really say in the video where even when I give an example of, oh, don't drink energy drink, I'm not saying forbidding, like, don't forbid it for yourself for like life. You can drink it like once or twice, or you can drink it a lot of times, but you need to understand that it's not good for your health, and just take it a little bit. Like, I know I'm not really making sense. I'm just going off the dome, but you know what I mean. I'm just saying, take everything in moderation, and also when you're trying to go, if you're trying to walk towards change and things like that, just take time, t- go little by little, and then you'll get there. And that's a lesson to me first before I give it to you. But anyway, till next time, hope you guys are blessed and see ya, bro.